What is going on, everybody? It's your boy SAJ coming to you live on a Thursday night. Like this doesn't normally happen, so super excited. I don't have any place fancy to come from tonight. B, you got anything?
That's the Tuesday thing. We don't do that on special episodes. You know.
We won't do that on special episodes or what could become a regular thing. But I really am excited about this one. We've had a couple of guests on lately, especially from the Continental Football League. I'm sorry, I'm trying to cheat up here and do things behind the scenes, which doesn't work very well. Anyways, we've had a couple of guests on from the Continental Football League, and these guys have some insane football pedigrees. The next gentleman we're about to bring out is no different.
Yeah.
Lots of experience, lots of interactions, may even be a whole bunch of Texas connections that you might or might not know about. But what we want to do is go ahead and bring him in and let him talk for himself. And BD, here we go. Welcome, Manny. How are you?
How we doing, guys?
Doing great, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I guess start off. Tell us who you are, what you've done, and kind of evolving how you got involved into Continental Football League and the Ohio Valley Ironman.
That is a big story. So I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version. Okay. So, my goodness. Yeah.
I'm just going to ask that one question and just sit back for the next hour and just let
yeah,
you talk.
right.
So
you could.
Hey,
I'm not here for
done.
that.
It's all
yeah,
you now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But, basically, for me, I grew up where I live now. It's an area called the Ohio Valley. It's where we call it it's like the tri-state area. It's like the panhandle, the tip of West Virginia, Ohio, eastern side, and western PA. So within an hour of us, we can go to Pittsburgh, Morgantown, all that's right around us. And but it's pretty much a big football area, a lot like West Texas. When I think high school football, it's like Friday nights, they just shut down everything. And if you want to rob our town, if our football team's away game Friday night,
keep that just in case
tell me about it. There's nobody there. So, and these towns are all like that. So there's some legendary players that have come from this region. Guys in the Hall of Fame in Canton, like Lou Groza, played for the Cleveland Browns. We got some Joey Galloway right here, right from our town.
Yep.
Okay.
On the side note, he kind of pissed me off on Saturday what he was saying about the Aggies during the halftime show, but
Okay. We have a lot. Really quite a few. And and I think it's awesome to be from here. My father was a football coach my whole as I grew up here. But I went to college in Columbus, Ohio, small school, Division III school. I'm the only player from that school to get drafted in the National Football League. So I was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, and in the original USFL. Yeah, right. I know. I'm sorry.
Cowboys fan. I got to take my shots to the Eagles when I can.
That's okay. I've got some ties to the Cowboys too, believe it or not. But so did that. Was in the original USFL. Was in Orlando, and Lee Corso was our coach down there, which is
very
pretty
cool.
Neat. Yeah, and then was also with the Indianapolis Colts. So just sort of played the circuit back in those days. This was mid '80s when I was a player, and after that I got into coaching, actually teaching and coaching. So I coached at a high school that. It was really in Ohio, a really great conference. I started out at Barberton High School, which is where Bo Schembechler's from. If you recall, Michigan. John Makovic was from there too. There's some good coaches, and we were in the same conference as Massillon, Canton McKinley. Massillon's where Paul Brown was from, and so forth. So you're talking some legit football there. And then I had an opportunity. I went to Kansas State as a graduate assistant, and then was elevated to receivers coach, and then became a coordinator there. During the time I was at Kansas State, we had Bob Stoops was he was on the staff with us. Mark Mangino. We had a bunch of really good coaches there, and that was fun. I mean, I was on Coach Snyder's staff twice there, and in the middle of leaving Kansas State, I went to be the offensive coordinator at a school in Long Island, New York, that doesn't play football anymore, called Hofstra University. And Hofstra, we were good. I had a kid named recruited a kid named Wayne Crabette, played for the New York Jets. He's a prototype slot receiver. Was an all-pro third down guy back in the day, and we had a great football team there. It was cool because we had, it was like a training ground for future coaches. So guys that were like either my GA or had come through Hofstra, Dan Quinn with the Commanders. All right, he was there.
You were right the first time.
I know. Raheem Morris was also there. It's another one with the Falcons head coach.
Yep.
We had some dudes, and there's a lot of them still from that Hofstra day. And then when I came back after leaving Kansas State the second time, I went to be a head coach. It was my first head coaching job and I was in Kansas at a school called Emporia State. And Emporia State is a Division II school. And we had a remarkable turnaround, and it was one of those places I learned so much as a head coach. We had a young man that led the nation in rushing, and in fact 2 years in a row when he graduated, he was the all-time leading rusher in college football history, all divisions. Wow. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And he broke back then. There's a kid from A&M Kingsville, used to be called A&I, Texas A&I, Johnny Bailey. He broke all his records. So this was in that era, mid 90s to 98. And we were very good. We're in fact, for our guys, the Emporia State guys, we're the last team to ever beat North Dakota State in a home opener. So they flew us up to Fargo. We whipped them. It was a Fox Sports Thursday night game of the week. It was deafening. Even when I coached against Texas A&M, as loud as that place was getting, this was louder. I mean,
really,
the Fargo Dome was ridiculous.
Wow.
To a point, guys, like we would be getting in the red zone, and I know it's illegal, but you get there and they've got where the goalposts are, there's a ramp going up, right? And they would ramp up these John Deere tractors in the dome, and you couldn't hear. And it was like talk about crazy noise,
Oh, but, that's funny.
Yeah, so it was pretty neat, doing that. And then I went to the University of Wyoming as the offensive coordinator there, and had a lot of success. We were really good there. Great offense, lit it up, and all the while, I think about I've had this entrepreneurial side, right? So I started a magazine when I was at Kansas State called American Football Monthly, and this thing took off, and it got to the point where it became the National Trade Journal for football coaches. So I'm doing that coaching at Wyoming, and we get my company gets the search to hire the next head coach at Texas Tech. All right. So I'm coaching at Wyoming. My publisher calls me, hey, Gerald Myers, who's the AD at Tech, says, hey, you guys, because you're the experts on coaches. He was a basketball coach, brought us in. We brought in Rich Rodriguez, believe it or not. He turned it down. We brought in who's the other guy we brought in? Oh, Terry Bowden. He turned it down. Actually, his wife turned it down. She didn't want to live in Lubbock. And then we had to get Mike Leach 2 interviews. They turned him down. And then when we got him the next interview, we finally got the job for Mike. And then Mike tells me, hey, come down, be my associate head coach. I come down, help him hire pretty much most of the staff. We hired back in those days, we brought in Art Briles to be the running backs coach. Sonny Dykes was our outside receivers coach. We had Dana Holgerson, slot receivers. just to name a few. I think we had from our group 8 or 9 guys that went on to be D1 head coaches.
Wow.
So that was the
it's crazy. It's
time.
crazy now, as great of a coach as Mike Leach has been. It took 2 interviews for to be like, hey, why don't you come on down?
Well, there was a problem with the first interview. They interviewed him the day after they played Oklahoma in Lubbock. So Mike was the OC at Oklahoma, and they got beat. So Texas Tech beat it. He has to interview the next day, and he walks into the interview with a cup of coffee, Billabong shorts, and flip flops, and the T-shirt.
Oh,
He's like,
Mike Leach.
yeah, and the next interview he came in and he was suit and tie and flip charts and all that, and he got the job. But that's basically what happened. But yeah, so that was fun. So the era I was there was at the very beginning. We hired all the coaches. Cliff Kingsbury was our quarterback. I had Wes Welker. I coached him.
Yep.
Really good player for us. The last player I had anything to do with signing was Danny Amendola down in the Woodlands, because we signed him. And, so I left there, went to Texas State. Actually, it was called Southwest Texas. And then when I'm there that summer, party school, totally crazy. And beautiful campus. I to this day, one of the most beautiful campuses I've seen. And they had basically come in, and when I got the job, they were telling me they were going to change the name of the school. Right. And you're either in or you're not. And I said, oh, whatever. And it's a much bigger school than people realize.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in retrospect, the people that were upset about it, and I get it. It used to be like a teacher's college. It has just gotten so big that Texas State made more sense. And now they're probably really glad it's called that, because they wouldn't be where they are if it was still SWT. I can assure you that, so it's a good move. And then after that, I ended up coaching in Canada as offensive coordinator, and just all the while, just having fun, coaching the game, and just influencing young men and just working with some really great coaches. I'll be honest, it's fun. So that's my story.
Very cool, man.
So,
that's a great story. I mean, how many just names you've been around and been with and talked to and coached with, and I mean players that you've had. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I think after I had probably put in, oh goodness, how many? I don't know, over 35 guys I coached in college ended up playing in the National Football League. So I mean, it's pretty cool to be part of that, right? But I think the thing I probably enjoyed the most were the relationships with those guys and the coaches, the guys you get to hang out with all the time. That's probably the funnest part for me.
Nice. So definitely, we talked about it before. Lots of Texas connections here. Probably everybody in the industry. Let's be honest.
Well,
I would like
maybe. I don't know if I know everybody. It's more like, and this is not to come across in any way other than it's real simple. When you are in the media to coaches, right? Like you're a guy that created a trade journal for football coaches, right? And back when magazines were it, right? When you do that, you get known by people that you don't know. So there was a lot of that I was doing behind the scenes. Like I owned the magazine, but I wouldn't put my name in it. I would, put my grandpa's name, but my other last name, his last name. So I didn't want people to know I was doing it. I was just doing it to contribute to help coaches, to be honest. And there were people that when they found out, they're like, oh, he's helped this guy. Like I helped Hal Mummy get the head coaching job at Kentucky. I helped, Mike Leach get the job at Texas Tech. I probably, over those years running that magazine, probably over a dozen coaches that got big time jobs were through my company, but I was always behind the scenes. I didn't think it was appropriate. Let's put it that way.
Well, we can definitely respect that.
Yeah. So that's fine.
I want to switch gears on you a little bit here because you
Sure.
told us about your backstory, which is an incredible backstory. I'm going to go back and take notes so when we do your life story
Oh,
and
great.
like
There you go.
yeah, I'll
30 for
have the rights
30.
to all of it. Yeah, because I wrote it down. So
Go
no.
for it.
Anyways, um, I want to switch gears here because obviously you have the Iron Man
Mhm.
insignia behind you. That's your team. You're very involved in that and everything. Let's talk about that. How did the Ironman come about? Because your team actually came from a different league,
Yeah.
and
Well,
there's a connection back to the Continental Football League because of that.
yeah, it's all, I mean, I guess it all triangulates around me at this point. I get that. I mean, you've connected some dots that not everybody has. But it's just interesting. Like, I grew up here. There used to be a team in the 1960s called the Wheeling Ironmen. Wheeling, West Virginia is where it was located, right? And they were a legendary team. They start out in 1962, which was when I was born. So in 1962 and 63, they were in the original UFL. So there was a UFL back in those years, and they won. They were the champions of the UFL both years, and they were too good. So then them and a couple other leagues around this region of the country and others came together to start the Continental Football League. So the Ironman back in the day, a lot of legendary players there. I mean, you're talking about famous coaches later. You got Sam Weiss, head coach of the Bengals, played quarterback for the Ironman. You got John Amos, famous actor in the old series Good Times and all
Huh.
that. He played for
Mhm.
us. We've got Bob Dunleavy, who won a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys, played here. I mean, Clyde Thomas went to the Philadelphia Eagles, had a great career. So many guys. I mean, I'm talking like these guys were legends here. And we would put about 10, 12,000 people to watch them play at Wheeling Island Stadium. And it was a pretty awesome deal. And the neat thing was in the late 60s, they changed their name to the Ohio Valley Ironman to be more inclusive of the whole region. So, that's what we did there. So that was back then. And in 1969, the Continental Football League folded due to the AFL and the NFL merging, and they got all the broadcasting. And also, there was there's a little deal going on overseas called Vietnam. And we had a lot of our guys have to go over. So there weren't enough men to play this game. And the league imploded 1969. But the interesting thing about the Ironman, they had such a connection back then that there's actually a story in the archives of Sports Illustrated that they were trying to resurrect the Ironman in 1969 when that league had folded, and little kids were bringing their piggy banks to the football office to help them, have a team. So we had over 950 stockholders in the original Wheeling Ironman. People still have their
Wow.
certificates back in those days, so it's pretty neat. And in fact, in '69, it was in the Indianapolis newspaper. There was the Ironmen were one vote away from joining the Canadian Football League. They were that well thought of. So pretty neat.
Wow.
So that I'm a bit of a historian when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so that was fun. And then, for us, like how I got here was basically years later, I moved back home to help take care of my father, who was at that point in his late 80s. And I had been a head coach at a small college, basically gave it up, moved back here, and just gave up coaching for a little bit. I didn't really think about anything, but I'm the oldest of four boys, so you got to take care of your family, right? So um so it was actually a wonderful few years with my father, and my littlest one who's 13, and them connecting. It was just pretty cool. So when he passed away, we just the last couple of years, he had a tremendous recollection of the Ironman. It was a big deal. the head coach of the Ironman was his defensive coordinator at a high school here locally. So I didn't realize he used to take me to all these games. That was pretty cool. So I had a connection to that. So I go back on, I get online. I'm like, oh, I do websites and mess around. So I say, does the wheelingironman.com and Ohio Valley, does it exist? No. I go, oh, okay. So I buy that and then I get the rights to it because after 50 years, you have no licensing if it hasn't been used. So you could whip up something and, and you got it. Right. So I got that. And then about a year and a half later, I get a call saying, hey, this guy named Jason Adams in the IFA needs another team. And it was from a friend of mine, Hal Mummy, called me, and Hal said, hey, look, you interested? I go, I don't know. Why not? If we do it. He goes, where would you want to go coach? He thought I would leave. I said, no, I'm not leaving here. And I said, I want my own team. And so I went in, owned the team, head coach, GM, sales manager, what you name it, we just did it. And then, I got a few really wonderful people to volunteer and help us get this thing going. So we joined the IFA, and I am forever grateful to Jason Adams, or we're not talking if we didn't the Ironman did just have that experience. That's the thing. And I'm also learned from the experience of being in that for a year, because we had some teams that fell out, maybe some no fault of their own, but maybe it was just getting vetted properly or even knowing what they were doing. And there was not enough communication. That's probably the number one thing. And there was no blueprint for any of us. It's like, we did it. Here's you pay your fee, you're in. I'll see you guys at the season. And there were a few things here, but nothing really that I felt was a good plan. So I had to just sort of, as these other teams were falling by the wayside, the Alabama Beavers, and there's a couple other teams he just kept kicking out. And I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, my name's on the Ironman. I'm from here. It's not like I'm some guy that's a mercenary that's coming to coach a team. I mean, this is my world. I live here, right? So we found a way to bootstrap it. We found a way to get a schedule when all these other teams were floundering and weren't able to even get to the season. So we had a schedule set. So originally, guys, we had a 7-game schedule, and we were all set to go. We started the season off, and I was able to get a lot of local teams that were like semi-pro, and they would play, they might pay a couple of their players. So I would have them come in and play us. Every one of our games was broadcast live with 6 camera angles, sideline reporters. We had a local TV station that's fantastic that did all that. I mean, it was really cool. We played at a local high school stadium. And every week we had more and more attendance. It kept growing. And one of the crazy things was, we were unscored upon, obviously undefeated, and during the month of June. And so it was like 166-0. And it started to get to the point like, okay, some of these teams were playing. We were just built differently. I had over 9 guys of my 40-man roster had played in the NFL or the Canadian Football League. So we had some dudes. And they all came together really well. All my assistant coaches were pretty much local high school coaches that wanted to coach pro ball. So I came in and it's just a great group. Like I said, big football era. So you get great coaches. And so all that comes together. And the last week of June, and I can't make this up, I'm flying. It's an open week. I'm flying to Greece, all right, to my daughter's wedding. Okay, so my oldest, Meredith, was getting married that summer on the island where her heritage is from. So I land and I start getting my phone starts blowing up. This team won't play you. This team won't play you. I'm like, what? And it's all of a sudden, of the 4 teams left to play, only one was willing to play us. So I'm like, you got to be. So they're all canceling out. I'm in another country for a week, and we're writing press releases. How are we going to handle this? Our players are in a hotel, and you're just trying to keep it together. And all of a sudden, it's over. We had to cancel the season. Nobody would play us. It's like there was nobody available to play on that short of notice. And so I'm like, okay, this is over. Because I fly back. Our players had cleared out of the hotel, and all of a sudden, about 2 weeks later, mid-July, there's a national article on Barstool Sports, and saying the Ironmen 166-0, nobody will play them. And you know how Barstool is, it's very sensationalized.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
the guy that wrote the article, and this is what was awesome to me, he wasn't even a football beat writer. He was a lacrosse beat writer. Okay.
Oh,
So here's why that happens. So I have, a guy named Dox Aiken, great All-American lacrosse player at University of Virginia. Won the national championship at UVA, and Virginia's really good, right? And he had been playing professional lacrosse. Right? He's a great player, and he chose to play with us. And even when we were done, he says, "No, I'm a football player." He had gotten into training camp with the Patriots and the Ravens. He's a good player. It's not an average guy. So the lacrosse community was all upset. So they write this article. And then I end up finding out within about 3 weeks of them releasing the article, they had over 900,000 people reading the article, their metrics, right? So I'm like, this is crazy. So I start meeting with some people. I call Barstool up, and they were really nice. And it's a bit of a think tank. These are young dudes that just sit around whiteboards a lot, is what I got. And they go, "Hey, coach, this is awesome what you did. We want to do a documentary on you guys next year." And I'm like, "Guys, I don't know if you realize this. We don't have a league. We're not playing any, but we're done." And they go, "No, you're not." I go, and that's the first inkling I had. There could be something. And they go, "What you've done is you have created your own level of professional football." And you know how it's like a young kid will tell you that. It's like, "What are you talking about?" And then I start thinking back. It's like, oh my, there's the NFL, there's the Canadian Football League, there's the UFL, and then below that, you've got like arena football and semi-pro. What we were doing was this huge area in the middle there that is outdoor football. And I've coached some indoor ball. It's not the same. It's not even, it's just, I love that it gives guys opportunities, but it's so difficult for every Kurt Warner. There's thousands of stories that the guy's not going to make it. Right. So
Mhm.
I knew that we were on to something. So I called a buddy of mine, Mike Kelly, who you guys had on your show. And I said, "Look,
Mhm.
we're going to start our own league, man." He goes, "I'm in." It took like 2 minutes. "I'm in. Let's do this." Cause I knew he was like a great football guy. You guys have had him on your show, right? And I love Mike.
Yeah.
I've known him for probably 35, 40 years. And so I say, "Here's my thought. We're going to start the Continental Football League." And he goes, "Yes," because he was a big fan of the Continental Football League. He's maybe about 5 years older than me, and he would tell me stories of the Continental Football League growing up. And it's just the nostalgia. I go, "Well, it's one of those things. Let's grab the name. Nobody used it in 60 years. One of those deals." So we start doing it. And then because of the Barstool article, I had all kinds of people ask me, "How did you do what you do?" Because what a lot of people don't realize, we lost zero. We didn't lose a dime. Even through all that, you would think I would be leveraged to the hill. So we didn't lose anything. And we were on target to make a nice profit had we finished the second half of the season. But, so we thought that was good because the 4 games at the end of the season, 3 were home, 1 was away. It was going to be solid. And
Mhm.
so with all that being said, the Continental Football League was a brainstorm from some young guys that, we came up with the name that we took, but all of a sudden I'm like, okay, let's do this. And Mike has the wherewithal to be a great commissioner. He goes to me, he goes, "Manny, you know the formula. You're like the original McDonald's, and we're going to replicate that at a bunch of places. Let's talk about some things. And we've always gotten along great. I was his offensive coordinator with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the CFL. So then we came up with the continental shift idea. People were like all over it. Fourth quarter, change the rules, go fast. You like that?
Oh, he is. He talks about it all the time.
Oh, it's going to be
Yes.
so. I get things from fans like, oh, this is going to be revolutionary. I can't wait. Well, I love it because you can't sit on a lead anymore, and there's some cool parts of that because I love NFL and college football. Love it, love all it. But
Mhm.
I will tell you this: in the fourth quarter, if a team's up, they're just milking the clock. I'm like, I don't know, whatever you paid for those tickets, it's like I only paid for 3 quarters, really, because it's like
Yep.
it just. My mom gets bored watching that part of the game. So now we're talking, bringing it down to 3-down football, waggles, making all this stuff go and educating the fans on it. And the endorsement that we're getting right now from the Canadian Football League is off the charts. They love it. I mean, GMs up there are excited about it. So that's how I got to where we are right now and building this league right here where I live and traveling is it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I like meeting people.
Excellent. Excellent. So, we talked a little bit about your history, about, the Iron Men history. Um, Now that you kind of are starting to stack things together, and I know we can't really talk about the different teams that are going to be coming out, but obviously we saw today the release of the Tall City Black Gold, which is Midland.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Midland. I'm sorry. I was trying to remember. I blanked there a little bit, but you've got Midland in the house now. You've
Yep.
got San Antonio, which is a hungry football city. You've
Yep.
got the Texas Syndicate up in the Austin area, which
Mm-hmm.
has really never been represented, at least
No.
not properly, with football. So those cats are going to be hungry too.
Mm-hmm.
What's the North going to do to respond back to that? Is it going to be something big?
Well, I think like right now, obviously we're the flagship of the league, so we're here. And then we 2 weeks ago we got a team in Cincinnati,
Yep.
Ohio. Okay, so the Dukes are
Hmm.
in, right? And it was a long time. They won the last 2 years. They won 2 national championships at the semi-pro level. Now what they're doing is they're imploding it. So literally, they played us, and we beat them 44-0. But they had some guys. I mean, trust me, they had some players. So I think that what ends up happening is that we take this and we're helping Cincinnati build our franchise. Okay. So
Okay.
even though that's going to be a rival for us, I don't care. My goal in this is there's going to be 8 teams in this league, 4 in the
Mhm.
North, 4 in the South. Basically you're only playing the teams in your division until the national championship game. That's
Okay.
it. So in
Okay.
essence, think of it this way: there's going to be another team announced in the South, and all I can tell you about that is right now I have 2 teams that today said they both wanted that last spot, but I'm only going to give it to one. So we've got some conversations to decide who, where, what the best dynamic is. And there's others.
Nice.
But like there was some really good teams in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina that have contacted us, but they're out of the blueprint. I can't have people busing 12 hours, 20 hours for games. We're just not going to do that.
Right.
Even though indoor teams do that all the time. Well, our poor team in Wheeling, we have a team called the Miners, and last
Hmm.
year they had to drive on the bus from Wheeling, West Virginia to Denver, Colorado. I mean, I can't even make
That's
that up. And I'm thinking those
yeah.
poor kids, I knew some of these guys, like put those guys through that travel for what? I don't understand, So we're not building it that way. So the idea is we may have one outlier in the group. So that 4th team in the South could be a team that's a little further away because I know in 2027 we've already got I've got like a waiting list of people that want to talk to us about a team. I mean, I'm talking like 18 cities.
Oh wow.
Wow.
waiting list. All right. So, but what we want to do is create the 4 in the South, the 4 in the North, and then from there, I believe conservatively that in 2027 we will have 6 teams in 2 divisions, a dozen.
Mhm.
That would be pretty, and that would give us 10 games. So 5 home, 5 away. Everybody plays each other, right? And then you have the playoffs, and you're gonna the top 2 in your division play, and then they go to the next round. So so like this year, the top 2 in the North are playing, top 2 in the South, and the first year the Southern champions coming to the North for the national championship year 1,
Okay.
and then we'll roll
Thank
through.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Because we don't want to play football here in Texas in the summer. Like that's going to be
Well, at
brutal.
least you'll be at nighttime. It's not bad. I was in San
That's
Marcos at
true.
night. It's nice, you know,
That's
if you're
true.
gonna do. There's no afternoon games,
Well, that's good.
and
No.
no, well, everybody's playing night games, and if you think of it this way, I met with some broadcasting people today. We're working on how we're going to produce this, right? And what we're doing is we're actually going to set it up because knowing that there's 4 games every week, right? 2 in the North, 2 in the South. The blueprint that we've put together is that since, like, think about this, you guys are football fans, right?
Mhm.
We all are. And right now we're pretty geared up, other than like Maction, which plays on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You know, tonight the NFL's playing right now on Thursday night,
I
Friday
got it. I
night.
got it on right here on my TV.
Cool. That's where I'll be after this. So then, you know, so you got Thursday night, we're used to football, Friday night, high school football, Saturdays, college, Sunday night, pro, and of course, there's Monday night football. So we know we've got 4 games. So instead of everybody playing on a Saturday or like or on Sunday, we're going to have a feature game, a Thursday night game of the week, a Friday night game of the week, Saturday, and a Sunday. So every night,
Wow.
it'll be broadcast to everybody. So you'll be able to see, you know, oh, here's the Ironman playing, here's the Cincinnati Dukes, and all of our players can watch these other teams and sort of build a community off of that. And I think that will make us stronger. It'll also help us to broadcast in a way where we can have a lot of continuity. Maybe the same crew that does the 2 games in the South, keep the same crew, right? Who's in the booth? How are they up?
Yeah.
And it's every other day. Same thing in the North. We're seeing a lot of good things, and I want to give all access to the cameramen, put them in the locker rooms, put them in the huddles, whatever you got going, and just really make it nice. And I think, you know, just do something that hasn't been seen, but make it super fan friendly, because ultimately we're the unofficial the People's League, as they're calling us now. So there you go.
I,
Nice.
and I love that. The reason why I perked up about the broadcasting part is because that's one of the questions that we've been getting a lot lately.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
who's going to be broadcasting the games? Where are we going to be able to see them? Right? A lot of the local San Antonio Toro fans, you know, obviously we don't have a team anymore, and so uh, we're kind of using that momentum, if you will, to
Yeah,
connect, right?
sure.
But people want to be able to see the games and be able
Yeah.
to connect with it without having to, necessarily drive out of town to go catch all the
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
So knowing now that there is broadcast information in place, maybe we don't have all the specific details yet,
No.
um, but knowing that you guys are working on it, now I can tell the fans that and tell them,
For
look,
sure.
here's yet another thing to show, you know, that there is a solid plan for this league here, right?
Yeah.
And again, taking everything one step at a time. And that's what I love about this league. I'm going to be honest. I love football, diehard Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers fan. I'm sure you probably heard all the bad things about me. Um, but I love the fact that this league is so accessible for folks like us, and
Oh
we can
yeah.
talk to guys like you, to the players, to whatever. Um, but also that you're doing it the right way. You're taking it slow and steady, and you've got a plan for
Yeah.
everything. And I'm sure you probably have a backup plan, and then you probably have a
Yeah.
backup plan to the
We
backup plan.
do. I mean, I would tell you this, Jason. Right now, we have a 5-year plan. right? And in so many facets, not just broadcasting. I mean, there are things that we will put out on social media, and our biggest social media is X or Twitter, right? That's where we live, because we found it's easier to get really good at one social media than spread yourself everywhere. So, and the football coaches, fans, players live on X. It's what they use in recruiting in college. They're sharing film
Mhm.
with coaches, right? It's easy to use. So by default, that's what we're using. But there's things like we put out there, say, hey, let's test this out. Like, and we put out a tweet. I don't know if you even call them tweets anymore, but whatever. And we put
I
it
think
out there.
I think they're called posts now. It's generic.
Yeah, whatever. I
But
wish Elon would
I
come
still
up with
call them
a
tweets.
better,
But
cooler name, right?
yeah,
The
yeah.
guy created
Yeah.
Tesla, for God's sake. He could do better than that. But anyway, so I think about that, and we put something out there like, what's the stupidest penalty that we see in the NFL, college, and all that, and 100%. I mean, we were getting all kind. It was holding on the offensive line. I mean, you can find holding on every single play. You could stop you'd never get through a game if they called every holding penalty. So what we're doing is, there was a fan, and I don't know who it was, they brought it up. Well, hey, just make it a 5-yard penalty. And I told Mike, I said, that's freaking great. 5-yard penalty, great. It's not a big penalty, and we're not going to it's got to be blatant to get the penalty. So we're going to let kids play and be athletes out there and play the game, because, like I said, we could see that. So that was pretty cool. So we put it out to the fans, and they respond, and we run things all the way across the board. We ask people, and we're open to feedback.
I'd like to add my suggestion for the rule change in the vein of holding. Defensive holding should not be an automatic first down.
Oh, okay. Interesting. See, there was something we put out there. The other penalty was when like a defensive back and pass interference, right? He's doing that, where should the other team get the ball? Well, it was only 15 yards, but it happened in the end zone. Where should you, because the NFL does it one way, college does it another way. So it's like, oh, okay. So we're thinking through all of that stuff. But you have a valid point. It's like, look, we want the game to go fast. We want it to be exciting. Thus, the continental shift, which I think will take this to a whole other level. And people are going to be so juiced up. I mean, I really think I'm fired up for that. We're actually working on like the marketing side of it. In every stadium, when the fourth quarter hits and it's continental shift, the announcer is going to say certain things, right? And we're going to get like.
Did you see the "Oh Canada" in between the third and the fourth quarter?
I don't think so. No, I don't think we're going there. But
big old maple leaf comes down.
But I will tell you, we have had teams from Canada asked to come to our league already. They want to talk to us. There are teams there, so it's crazy.
I think the continental shift involves us putting down our Shiner Bach and picking up a Molson.
Labatt's
Labatt would be a good one.
What? I'm sorry. I'm not down with the continental shift anymore. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
When you're 17 deep, you're not going to know. I'm just saying. But
anyway, all I know is, hey, when I used to coach in the Canadian League, man, it was my first pro job, right? And we come in after a game, and there's coolers of ice and Labatt's blue everywhere. These players, I'm like, man, you're not coaching college ball anymore. This is awesome, So it's pretty neat, just to have a pro atmosphere like that. It was fun, but I'm with you. I mean, I think there's a lot we can do, make this thing super exciting, and we're learning from the fans, and I love that, man. I'll drink maple syrup, JC says.
Yeah, Jackie, she's our sister from our Horns Forward podcast, and you can see that one behind us right there.
Yeah,
and then our Snap Decision podcast that kind of spawned as a result of kind of all the UFL fallout, right?
Okay.
Awesome. And you'll probably see her around, right? We're slowly bringing her on board. We're not going to force her, but as you guys develop it, your plan gets more solid. She's going to be kind of getting a little bit more involved. And that's
if you guys are in San Antonio, I will be down there probably in the winter anyway. You can meet us.
I don't know if you can call it the winter, especially from where you're from, but I mean, it may be
Our winter.
60 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Okay,
guys is
we'll meet
winter,
you at
not us.
the probably meet you at the Menger. We'll meet you down there at the
Very
bar.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, you let us know when. We'll be there.
Yeah. No doubt.
remind us. We'll show you the Alamo basement. A little secret that most people don't know about.
Legendary. You guys are awesome. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, I think the whole People's League and the fan ownership model, which we're just getting that started right now. We're
Yes.
actually doing it in a soft launch. All right. So
Okay.
we had I think it was today, Thursday.
Today's Thursday.
Yesterday, we had our first owner actually jump on board, Will from Washington,
Oh,
PA. Awesome.
okay.
So it was pretty neat. Him and Chris got together, Christopher and Will, and they bought the first stock in the Ohio Valley Ironman.
Cool.
And that's pretty neat. There he is. That's him.
So that guy?
That's my man.
And,
yes.
And then that
He
guy?
is and that's the other one right there. Together, they went together, and they were the very first owners of the Ohio Valley Ironman, the first ones that have done that. So I'm pretty juiced. We haven't even sent anything to anybody, but I know that when we saw it come through, it's like, yes, this is awesome. So
Very
it's
cool.
it's a great way to get people involved, and we will be promoting it heavily here, probably after Thanksgiving. But right now we're doing soft launch, sending people here.
Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Just kind of what it means, just the process, of just the fan ownership. I know we had Josh on, but just kind of from your perspective.
Sure. I think there's a few models. The easiest one for people to realize is Green Bay Packers. Okay. That's a team, right? I get it. Hey, my first autograph ever, believe it or not, my father got it for me, was Vince Lombardi.
Oh,
I have it right there. Crazy, right? My dad went to see him speak at a coaching clinic in Atlantic City, and bingo, and Vince is a dude. I was a kid, but I was heartbroken when he passed away coaching for the Redskins. It was awful.
Yeah.
But anyhow, you get to the Packers, how that's built. If you think about it this way, all the movement, and you're in San Antonio, of all these pro teams, poor St. Louis, how many times have the Rams, the Cardinals, have gone through there? The Browns thought they were solid, and they moved to Baltimore and became the Ravens, and Indianapolis, all this stuff. There's only one team that their fans can be really certain are never leaving their town, and that's the Green Bay Packers. That's it. Any other team could leave. The Oakland Raiders moved multiple times, right? I mean, it's crazy. If the Dallas Cowboys wanted to leave, he just built another stadium. Are they, where is this, right? So they can all leave except one team, the Green Bay Packers.
Jerry's gonna move the team to hell when he goes. I'm sorry. No. Sorry. Did I say that out loud? Oh, geez.
I hear you. But see, that's the point. So I love the fan ownership side of that, because you get voting rights. And so what we're doing with that is, I found out about this through multiple sources, that in Europe, a minor league, lower level teams in soccer do this to fund themselves. There's a team in Detroit, soccer team called Detroit FC, and Detroit FC started out as a semi-pro team, and then they've been moving up the ranks in minor league, and they've raised millions that way, and now they're building a new stadium for soccer. It's like, it is so cool. So I'm like, well, no one's ever done this for American football. It's never been done, in this way. So it's a crowdfunding campaign. You can be an owner of the Ironman for as little as $100, right? For $250, $500. And what happens is, as you become an owner in it, you get stock certificate, right? And you get like even the $100 stock certificate, and you get like a car decal that'll have, I will send you the link. Right? It'd be awesome. That's why I do this, right? I'm peddling. But look, the idea being that, at each level, you get more and more. So let's say at $500, somebody comes in, they get a real helmet with the decal on, an actual helmet a player uses, jerseys with names on the back going up. There's different types of things you get with your ownership. right? So, and it just stacks one on top of the next, and it's right in there. Oh, I see something there. You guys.
See an empty shelf.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, so it's like
he had to get that one bootleg made. That's
understand.
not an official one.
Yeah, but I think it's cool. And then, hey, we want to vote on certain things. Hey, we're gonna have a mascot. Let's vote on this. They get to vote, or whatever it is we want to do. We give people voting rights, and it's all through the Securities and Exchange Commission. So it's not just I have a certificate. I actually, hey, they want to vote on something. You get an annual report. Everything is transparent. Finances, you see them all. I mean, we don't. It doesn't matter to me because that sort of gives us a check and balance. Nobody's ripping off anybody, and we know every year we can raise more and more, right? Just like those soccer teams have done. And I think that could help every single team in our league. And you cannot have a team unless you do this crowdfunding. You can't. So I'm not looking for some multimillionaire in here to come buy a team. Because I don't want one guy to fund it. It's too much power. No way. Yeah.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah. So that's how it works. Yeah. So hopefully I gave you a little clear understanding of that, guys. Yeah.
Yes. And seriously, we've said it before. I've specifically said it before, but we're definitely here. Again, we're going to tease you guys when you come into town and stuff like that, but we're here for the league. And when that becomes a thing, like we're going to put our money where our mouth is. Maybe we can't buy, the $5,000 shares or the $500 shares or whatever. But we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're buying stock in all the team just to show that we're here for you guys. So
yeah,
when
and
that
I
happens, you let us
appreciate
know.
that because I think in the end, if you can imagine if we can all just say, you know what, just quit listening to the naysayers out there. This is going to happen, right? And not only is it going to happen, it's going to happen because of everybody that is part of a team. You're not going to let this thing fold when it's your team. So that's a big piece of this. I mean, and we're putting strategies to make that work.
I'm gonna buy stock in every team, and I'm gonna vote against all the stuff that's gonna make them better, except for San Antonio.
There you go. There you go. You got it. Go.
You're going to get a mascot, but the costume's coming from Timu, so it's all going
There
to be
you go.
ratty and
Right.
falling apart.
I hear you. Yeah.
That's good
No,
stuff. Okay, so I
awesome.
definitely want to ask this, right? We've
Uh-huh.
talked about your career and stuff like that. You definitely are an offense kind of guy.
Yeah.
Without giving us your game plan, what can we kind of expect? Are we expecting, high-powered run and gun, or are you going to focus a little bit more on the grind? Like,
Uh,
what can we expect from you? Taking out the
my
continental shift.
team, okay, is always I've never huddled in my life, even before people huddled. Okay. I mean, I'm talking like what I was doing back when I was at Hofstra University, nobody was doing at that point in time. It was really crazy. I mean, we were no huddle, we were four wides. We're at a point that we were not only just playing high speed football, right? That was important to us. And our linemen were in 2-point stances. Not today. Oh, hell, everybody does. I'm telling you what, in the early 90s, nobody was doing it full time. So we were taking fast break football and we were breaking records that everybody was looking. I was like, how are they doing this? So and I still do that, but now I want to be able to run or throw. So we're going to have power run game, spread out there. And then when the continental shift comes, I can't wait because now the creativity comes out because I haven't coached in the Canadian League. This is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, these guys are going to be so juiced to do this. And there's some pretty cool strategies you can utilize there. And then I got a commitment today from a punter, believe it or not. And he should be punting in the National Football League. He's that good. He's the best punter I've seen. Legit. And there's a rule in the fourth quarter that we put together. If you punt the ball and it goes through the uprights, you get 2 points.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So you're getting points there. And, so you got to be accurate, right? You got to put it through. So it's sort of like a rouge, but an accurate rouge. If you kick it out, you get 1 point, but put it through the uprights,
Yeah.
you get 2. I mean, this dude hits bombs. I mean, this punter, I'm telling you, he's on YouTube and you see like, oh my gosh. And he was the only thing I felt bad about. He played for me last summer.
Mhm.
We only punted 1 time. And we didn't,
Oh,
we're just too good. I mean, our guys were that good. I mean, I hate to admit it. We had really good players and so it was hard. I had to force a punt. I had to make us punt 1 time. So he would at least get 1.
Like a
You know.
third
His
down
name's
punt or
Brad
something,
Wayne. No, it is not.
just to get him out on the field.
and so this guy, by the way, that's my evil twin that lives in St. Louis, in case you couldn't tell. Jason and I actually go back several seasons now.
Oh, okay.
Asking about that. We kind of already talked about this, but if you just want to highlight it again real quick.
Well, yeah. I mean, why they should pay attention to that. I think probably the best part of it is no matter what the score is, you can come back from anything because nobody's sitting on the ball. 3 downs makes it awesome, so it goes really fast. And I think as we look at the whole concept of the continental shift, it's like putting it together in a way that fans are not leaving in the 4th quarter when you got a blowout because there's a curiosity to this. And we are looking to make it like think Savannah Bananas wild atmosphere in the 4th quarter. Here's a festival. Stuff's going to be happening. Let's go. Yeah, he's right. That's our punter. Isaac Parks is our punter.
Nice. Nice.
Isaac Punt. Yes.
Yes. So it's interesting that you brought up about the fans leaving in the 4th quarter, right?
Yeah.
One thing that we kind of gave the UFL credit for, and this was kind of back in the XFL days, the first home game we played St. Louis and looked like it was a blowout. San Antonio had it locked down, right? All the St. Louis fans that showed up started leaving. Before they made it to the parking lot, that's when that 4th and 12 rule kicked in, and we wound up losing that game, right? That's why I'm so excited about this. That's why I'm so just frothing at the mouth because this is innovation. I love the fact that you guys are changing the game because who wants to see those blowouts? Who wants to see that 4th quarter where people are milking the clock and you paid $500 for your nosebleed seat, right? We don't want
I'm
that.
with you. I mean, I feel the same way. And, I think of it this way. Hey, you got the first 3 quarters, all NFL rules, and then it's bedlam in the 4th quarter. Let's go. Let's have a blast.
Love it.
What
Absolutely
can we
love
do
it.
to pull this thing out? I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah. Well, and because we talked to coach about this earlier, the fact that you're getting like cross training for the players,
Yes.
right? Because you guys have connections in both sides, yes, the NFL and in the CFL.
Canada. Yeah.
So with this, continental shift, you're getting guys experience in the continent or the CFL rules because they may actually go to the CFL, right?
Oh, it's happening. Trust me. There's still going to be so much interest. I had probably 3 of my players, had we been able to play through July, for sure would have played in Canada. Because what happens is when our season's over, the CFL hits the mid-season break. So like baseball, the All-Star break, they do that in Canada. They take a week off and then they finish the second half of the season. So that's like in August. And our guys will be coming out and they will have that experience and then get put on in practice squad and they'll be having all the film to watch these guys. So they'll have scouts down here watching our guys. And it will not surprise me. You see a bunch of guys over the years go right to Canada when they're done playing in our league. And that's a pretty high level. I mean, there's some great football players up there. So I know. And what we're doing is going to help those guys for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Again, I can't say it enough, but I'm super excited to see that. And that right there, what you said is kind of the premise of what started this show, even, right? Texans talking football, football from a Texas perspective, where we're tracking everybody from their high school career to college,
Yes.
and then, maybe to indoor, maybe to COFL now, maybe
Hmm.
to, the UFL, just to the next level, right? Because that Kurt Warner story is kind of a once in a lifetime story, but it's about
I
time for
love
that
it. I
story to
think it's
happen again.
great. I mean, shoot, man, he's in the Hall of Fame. But I think you're spot on, and you sort of are alluding to the way we're running our roster management with our regional rights. That is
Mhm.
very original XFL, the original Vince McMahon,
Yeah.
like, because Mike brought that to the table, and I
Yeah.
love it. And we still, once we have all the 8 teams, we'll be able to explain it more to them because not everybody has coaches yet. But the concept is, okay, you've got local players that are, you have first right of refusal. All right. So what trumps everything is where a kid played high school football. Okay.
Okay.
So I could have a guy that played here that ended up playing at Alabama, and I get him because he's a local high school kid. If there's a team in Alabama, they don't get him. He's mine. It's grassroots. So that's where it
Okay.
starts. So local
Eh,
high schools are yours. All right. And then, because once you sign somebody, you got to say, hey, I signed this kid from New Jersey or from Pennsylvania. And the other team, you can't sign him until they tell they don't want him. It's first right of refusal. Then it's small colleges and then the big schools. So it's sort of like, so you'll have, like, within you where you are, there'll be a radius around your location, and let's say like San Antonio is in a bigger population, so their radius won't be as big because we know how many football players are in that radius. And like for me, it's a smaller. I mean, I may go halfway to Pennsylvania, all the way up to Cleveland, because I just don't have the population. Somebody, if there was ever a team like in New York, they're in New Jersey and New York City and they're done. So it's different.
their radius is Manhattan, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. If there's football players, that's the key. They have to have football
Yeah.
players, and not everybody does everywhere. So that's the concept. So getting that, and then having a draft, in the spring,
Oh,
of players will be cool. The
yes.
IFA had a draft, and I got 6 players out of that draft, and 5 of them ended up starting for me. Really good players. So
Nice.
it works, and and
Mhm.
so you want to be able to get those guys, because there's a lot of guys, and the age thing that Mike put in. 25 of your guys on that roster have to be between 18 and 25 years old. Now, there's half the other part of the roster is going to be older guys, which is great. So veterans teaching young guys, and I love that because there's a big teaching side of this, just learning how to be a pro. You can't just have a bunch of young guys. I think that messes it up. You say you can't be, if you're over 25 or 26, you can't play. That's the dumbest thing. When I got drafted in the NFL, the guys I learned from were the guys in their 30s that have been through it and could teach you the things that a young guy can't. So there's all kinds of ways I see this working to the benefit of the players. And I think the one thing I would tell you, just in conclusion, for the player side, is the mission is, yeah, we'd love for you to go play in the National Football League or in Canada or any place like that. However, we also would love for you to be super successful in life. So when you're done, like some of the old Ironmen that played in the 60s, they were city councilmen, mayors, senators. These guys were contributing, a lot of school teachers, coaches. They just loved it here and decided to stay. To me, that is just as successful because they are setting their agenda for generations to come. So we want that. We want that. So I think that's part of that for us.
Absolutely love that. That's one of the
Awesome.
things that we were extremely thankful about with having Coach Wade was that he very much was trying to teach these young men to become professional young men. And just that aspect alone, because I think that's one of the things that maybe as fans we tend to forget about, that these are very athletically talented individuals, but they don't have the coaching on the life skill side, right? What are they going to do when they get their first, $150,000 check? What are they going to do when,
Yeah.
they've got real bills to pay and things like that, right? You can't just go crazy. Like you have to be a good steward of your resources. And I love that you guys are including that and making sure that, the older cats are taking care of the younger guys.
Yeah. That'll
So,
be fun. Awesome.
coach,
All right.
we could sit here and talk for probably like another 15 hours, and I absolutely
Oh
love it.
yeah.
But I also know that you're on the East Coast time and you're already an hour ahead.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to keep you too much longer. Uh, but uh we definitely we're gonna want you to plug your socials here at the end. Um, but I know Jason had asked, and we already talked about the teams and everything. When can we kind of just rough timeline, if you can? I don't expect you to actually give us real dates or anything like that. But when can we expect to hear? I know you had said maybe well, no, I don't. That was something else. Don't let me put words in your mouth here. When can we kind of expect when the league is going to be solidified as far as the teams, and when we can
Mhm.
kind of start, expecting? I know after Thanksgiving, obviously, because it's Thanksgiving is coming up, and then Christmas. Um, but when can we kind of start expecting to hear more stuff about, the teams coming together and like rosters being formed and who's going where and stuff like that?
Well, people are signing guys right now and they have to announce them. So there's actually a rule for that. So let's say I want to sign a player, right? You're going to sign him to a training camp invitation. There is a league document you send to that player, and he has to verify his birth date, high school, all that stuff. And then it's sent to the league office. And then once they approve it, it goes into a spreadsheet. Okay, that guy of the guys you're bringing to camp, he's there, he's on that roster, right? So everyone, like the syndicate, has already signed maybe 2 or 3 guys I know, okay, which is great. I have just turned in about 10 to 12 guys I'm signing, okay? So, and the other teams will be doing that moving forward. Now, part of it is on everyone's website, which that will come the new year, you have to list your training camp roster. So you don't like want to who made it to camp? Who is this? We want to show, hey, we signed this player, this player, this player. And you can only bring 50 guys to camp, and you have a 40-man roster, and 36 are active. That's the magic formula. So you'll see all the guys coming to camp, and it'll be right out there, very transparent. You know who you're signing and so forth. So that's the player side of it there. Schedule and everything, it's probably going to be staggered because there's a possibility that either the north or the south will one of them's going to get there's a good chance one to get filled up before the other. Okay, so let's say, for as an example, I don't know if that's will happen, but let's say in next week or whatever, we get another team in the south and all 4 teams are done. Well, we're gonna set their schedule because they're only playing each other till the playoffs. So we know they've got 3 home, 3 away. We'll pick the nights. They'll know, so that way they can start to secure stadiums and so forth. So it may not be here's a whole league schedule, here's the divisional schedule, and then when the other division gets set, they can do that. Gives you an
Right.
idea. So that's I
Excellent.
think moving along, we just have to be smart. Sometimes we get a little anxious of, when are they signing the next team? Who's coming in and all that? And I get it. But
We've been seeing it for years. Just
oh yeah.
fans are not patient. So
And I totally understand that. The thing is, I just know from the lessons I learned last year, if we don't vet these teams properly, we're going to be sitting here saying, hey, we got 8 teams, and all of a sudden you got 5.
yeah,
And all of a sudden you got 3, and it's not going to work. And our strategy is such that I think every team will be very successful, and they'll pay all the bills and do all that kind of stuff. That's the plan.
which is really the most important thing. Pay the bills and be successful.
Yeah, and I there's no question. I think is just sustain it. Let's
Yeah.
say that, hey, we'll get back on this. I'm sure sometime in the future I can come on, we can talk. But I will tell you this: let's talk in 5 years for sure, because we're going to be here and we're going to make this thing roll. I mean, that's what we're here for the long term. This for us meaning us owners, everybody that gets involved. This is a legacy project. That's how I see this.
Awesome. Well, Matt, we thank you for coming on with us. And I mean, you have an open invitation anytime you want to come on the show and talk to us. You said you're going to be in San Antonio. I mean, let us know. I'd love to sit down and have a beer with you at the Minger Hotel. So
absolutely. So what do you drink? Shiner, Lone Star, or what?
I drink Shiner. Pretty much dark beers, stuff like that is my.
How about the best barbecue? Where do you go?
Best barbecue?
Yeah. No, I'm just in the Central Texas. Even you could take me to the Hill Country. I don't care where. What's the best barbecue? I've been to some good ones.
There's a good long list.
Luling.
Luling's got a real good one. What's the
you've got Black's for sure, Black's barbecue. But the original, not any of the spawns that came from it. There is my personal favorite here in San Antonio is Two Brothers Barbecue. Chef John Dady owns that. The reason I'm dropping his name is because he's a big Food Network guy. He owns 4 completely different restaurants.
Oh wow!
And every one of them is an award-winning restaurant. This guy can barbecue. But it's a little different than like what you get at Black's. But yeah, the Luling Lockhart kind of east of Austin area, that's kind of the heart of Texas barbecue. And you almost can't go wrong.
No, I agree. I'm just curious what would pop up for you guys. But yeah, that's the one thing living up here. I mean, we've got some great food, but there's no barbecue like that.
No. I mean, just side note on that, we went to Memphis to go we followed the Brahmas and to the game we played in Memphis a couple years ago. And we went to a barbecue place there. That was some of the worst barbecue I ever had in my life. It's terrible.
I hear you. If you go to Memphis, like what I like, and it's only at the original one, right? There's this place, and they started to franchise them in Memphis, Nashville. It's called Gus's Fried Chicken. And
they've got one in Austin.
Yeah. Well, the original one is the one I went to. It's outside of Memphis, about 45 minutes. And it's in like this old shotgun shack. They fry the chicken in these huge, like cast iron skillets with peanut oil. And it's like legit. It's the best fried chicken I've ever had. But, it was about 25 years ago I went there because I read about it somewhere. I was like, I got to try it. If I'm in Memphis, that's what I would go, the original Gus's. But that's cool. They have one in Austin. That's not surprising.
Yes. So one word of advice I do have to give you, if you ever make your way through the St. Louis area, don't stop there for anything other than White Castle, because they've got that St. Louis style barbecue. It literally tastes like shoe leather, and their pizza is just cheese crackers. So there you go, Jason Spurgeon. Took another shot at your little city.
Poor Jason. Oh my goodness. I like St. Louis myself. I mean, it's Americana, right? We've got so many cool things, and I love that with the Continental Football League. It's like you think back, like we write articles historically who's played in the league, the different cities. That always, to me, as a fan, would give somebody clues like, where are they looking next? Look where the original teams were, or even the ones that spawned from there. And that would give you, because I mean, already, like, today when we announced, the Tall City Black Gold, there was the Odessa Midland Roughnecks out there, right? So that was that. And, so, and then you've got us, you've got the Toros.
Y'all kind of kept with the Roughnecks because Houston's not using that name anymore. So
no, and the original Odessa Midland team was RUFF Necks. That's how they spelled it. Well, that's how they spell it in the oil fields, right? I mean, that's the whole thing, right? But yeah, I agree. They're not using it, but so there's other ones out there. And what I love is a lot of these teams in the Continental Football League were farm teams for the National Football League. So like we were a farm team for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nice.
And I think I was telling
Nice.
you earlier we were talking about and I'll leave you with this story, okay? Because this is something that you can't get on the NFL Network, right? So, in here in Wheeling, all right, there is an island. It's the largest inland island in the United States. It's in the middle of the Ohio River. We got a casino, we got racetrack, and all kinds of stuff. Back in the old days, I'm talking like early 1920s and turn of the century. It was a place where a lot of the wealthy would go play. All right. So literally like the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, that's where they would go. And they were like, back in those days, it wasn't like the pollution there's now. There'd be white sand beaches. You're thinking you're in the Caribbean. It's how it looked. I see the old photos. Well, go a little bit further. The eventually Art Rooney, who bought the Pittsburgh Steelers, he got them in a card game on Wheeling Island. Yes. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah. So this is cool. Now now here's where the Ironmen get tied in. One of his best friend was a Greek fella by the name of Mike Vallon, who was the original owner of the Wheeling Ironmen. They were buddies. So I guess as story goes that the Ironmen were something that Rooney wanted, and they wanted a team here to be their farm team for the Steelers. So the Steelers would give the Ironmen uniforms, helmets, they would all that stuff, shoulder pads. They'd send them down there. So we had that Steeler look to us, right? The black, the gold, whatever they were wearing. So, and we had guys because back then the Continental Football League played in the fall. So now here's the thing. Back then, I don't know if you guys remember this, but if a team didn't sell out their home game, you could not watch them locally on television. They blacked it out, right? So, what happens here is like we could play the Wheeling Ironmen could play on a Sunday night. The Steelers could play earlier, and people could still go to both the games. But if a Steeler got hurt, they would call the Ironman. He'd come up and play that very next game. He might be there for a couple weeks, then he'd come back and play for the Ironman. It's like legendary stuff. And in Alabama, there was a team called the Huntsville Hawks. They were the Alabama Hawks in Huntsville. They were a farm team for the Atlanta Falcons. So there's a bunch of this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the history that I love that we can build off of. So there you go.
And then you had that farm team for the St. Louis Rams. Oh, wait. No, you didn't. Sorry. I've always got to get Jason all riled up, but that's that.
Oh, I thought St. Louis Rams were the farm team.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Coach, again, I thank you so much for your time. Mama's getting mad. She's giving me the evil eye, but go ahead and plug your socials. Let everybody know where they can find you, how they can follow you.
Yeah, I would just go to our websites is a good way to do it. OhioValleyIronmen.com, and the Continental Football League site is basically COFLfootball.com, and that's it. That's the easiest way.
Find you guys on X as well, and all that good stuff. So
at COFL
tweeters.
That's all that stuff. So I appreciate you guys, and when I get to San Antonio, I'll reach out to you.
Absolutely,
please do, Coach.
We'll have a good time.
So,
all right,
Coach, again, thank you so much.
Guys.
Move you in the back.
Bye. We'll see you.
Okay, so again, this is the reason why I've been pushing so hard for this, because there's just so much of a positive connection here. As information comes out, obviously we're going to share more with you when we find out more about the players and the teams and the staff and all that good stuff. We're going to try and get more people on and try and keep you as connected as possible, because I really do think, like as Coach said, this is the people's league. This is a great opportunity for us to all plug in and support wherever you may be at. If you have a team close by you, it's a great way to plug in and support something local. So, all right. That being the case, I really was serious when I said I was getting the evil eye from Mama. So
let's jump off, man.
Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up. You got anything to say?
No, that was great, man. I love talking to Manny, so that was fantastic.
Excellent. All right, guys, We'll see you this next Tuesday.
Catch
Be
you on
ready for
Tuesday.
us to talk some more football and suck it NFC North.
Suck
See you
it, Eagles.
guys. All right, later.